Hello, welcome, and thank you for coming. As you know, my name is Liz, and I am so excited to have everybody here and to be doing this first paint crate lesson. I'm using like my regular candles and stuff right now, which are still from Sweet Villanova, or not Sweet Villanova, Sweet Villa Creations. Villanova is pizza. Apparently I'm hungry. So I've got my candle lit, if you've got your candle. And then this is how this works. So you have a paper clip, and the little incense thing has a little loop on the end. Okay, so you stick it through, you straighten out part of the paper clip, you stick that onto the paper clip. I usually just light it over my candle. So it's not gonna, you don't want a flame, you want it just barely lit and then smoking. And then you get a jar and just stick it over the jar. And it'll kind of burn away within like 10 minutes, 5 minutes or so, and all the ash falls into the jar. Make sure everybody's got their jar of water or a glass of water or whatever. If you're interested, you have your tea. I have my Liz mug from my sister-in-law, the I Feel Happy tea. I'm gonna take a sip now. And so, or a glass of wine or a glass of water or whatever you have, make sure you've got that close. We'll do the background and then we'll take a little break while that dries for a couple of moments, because 2 hours is a long time to go without getting up and stretching. So we will take a little break and get up and stretch. And then we've got our paints. So all of these little containers have the plastic around it. So if you haven't already done so, there's like the little perforated parts, and that's really not showing up in my picture, but there's little perforations in the plastic. So you want to just rip those off. And we can get into our paints. So fun. I'm glad I made myself one to open up because it's really fun to open up, isn't it? Okay, so we've got that, we've got our paints, we've got our brushes. Now my brushes are a little bit stained from doing the other painting, but they're all nice and soft and ready to go. So, and you've got your paper, your napkins. If you tend to go through the napkins really quickly, you might want to have a paper towel close by. But you should have, if you haven't done the other painting, 4 should be more than enough. Oh, you've got a whole roll. Good job. And then your plate. I'm starting with a new plate. So this is, you can definitely, if you've already done your painting, you can definitely reuse this because the acrylic paint dries and then you just paint over top. But for the sake of showing you how to mix the colors, I'm using a fresh plate. Okay, so when you do your next painting, you don't have to have a fresh plate. Just make sure your paint's dry. And if you wait an hour, it'll be dry. I'm gonna invite you to do something that I like to do before I start painting, and that is to get grounded. So what I like to do, I put my hands either on my canvas or on my lap. You want your feet flat on the floor. And we're going to take 3 breaths together. So you can keep your eyes open and just kind of relax your gaze, or you can close your eyes. And we're going to do 3 breaths together. So with the first breath in, we're breathing in everything that came before this moment. And exhale, release all the technical difficulties, all the worries or rushing around that may have happened before this moment. With our second breath in together, we're going to breathe in anything pulling us into the future. And exhale, release all worries and expectations of things to come. And with our third and final breath in together, we're going to breathe in this moment. And exhale, release. Grounded and present in this moment we have together. Excellent. And then while your eyes are closed or your gaze is soft, I'm just going to do this quick inner child connection prayer, which is in your kit. Dear Mother, Father, God, bless us with your wisdom, protect us with your light. Guide us to connect with our inner child. Allow us to play freely and guide us to trust this journey. Support us to remain grounded while we spread our wings and open our hearts to intentional, intuitive creativity. Love, praise, and healing begins with me to be shared with the world. Thank you. Amen. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, get ready, shake off any nerves. And so we're going to get started with scooping out our paint. Where did my palette knife go? There it is. So I also have, did any of you have a chance to do the swatch card? I have my swatch card here so that I can use it as a reference for the ratios of the paint, but I'll tell you about how much to mix for each of the colors we're doing, so it's not a problem. So we're gonna open up our little containers. And you wanna scoop, I usually use the back of the palette knife if you've got the one with the angle. Most of the, like I said, I didn't get them in time, so a lot of them were missing, and I apologize for that. We're gonna scoop it out, and you want probably about that much, and stick that in a spot on your plate. And then wipe it off on the edge of your jar. And use one of your napkins or a paper towel to then wipe off the palette knife so that it's clean for the next paint. Okay. And then we're going to use, the white's the one you need the most of. You want actually a decent amount of blue as well. So a scoop of blue, because we're going to use it as the blue and the green. And then the yellow. I have a fly bugging me. Now, I'm not going to scoop my red quite yet because we don't need the red until the second step, and I don't want it to start to film over. So you're welcome to get a little bit of red if you want. You don't need very much, or you can wait until, and the same with the black. So right now I only have yellow, blue, and white here. Down here. So I've got just the 3 colors right now. And my beautiful canvas. And we're going to start with the large flat brush. And I like to just get it a little bit wet first with the water. And we're going to mix kind of a medium blue. So you want to take a little scoop of the blue and about an equal amount of the white and blend that together until you have a blue that you want for the top left corner. If you have your card, you can use that for your reference as well, or you can just follow along with me here. So we want kind of a medium blue, and I like to keep it so it's not fully blended together, but it's a little bit streaky. And then we're going to start in the top left and just making X's and pick up a little bit of the regular blue so that we have some of those streaks, a little bit of white. And we're just coming down. And it kind of comes across in like this triangle here. And as you start to approach the middle, we're going to start mixing into a green, kind of like a turquoise. So we're going to do, you want 1, 2, say 3 parts blue, 1 part white, or yellow, sorry. 3 parts blue, 1 part yellow. This should give us, and I didn't wash my brush, so there is still a little bit of white on there as well, but that's okay. And then we're going to go in with this color and with those same X-shaped strokes. And a little bit of white to blend the two together. If you want a more yellowy green, then mix in more yellow. In this middle part, I like having this little turquoise. And so I just like to put this turquoise kind of in this blending middle between the blue and the yellowy green that we're going to create. And again, I'll use a little bit of white to help soften that edge. And then we want to go into that brighter yellowy green. So I'm just going to use this turquoise and add a bunch more yellow. Okay. And then if you do find you need more paint, just scoop that in. If you're good, then that's good. I like to add a little bit more white towards the bottom corner, a little bit more yellow. Okay, great. And we do want this middle part a little dark because that's where the tuft of the, here, I'll come up to me. That's where the dandelion fluffy part is going to be. So a little bit darker there is perfect because then it'll, the white will stand out there. And then as you come from the middle down, you're going to add more yellow to make it a brighter green. So a little bit more yellow to that turquoise. And you can throw in some white if you want to, put some little kind of streaks in it with different shades and different colors. Just make sure your brush goes in the water when you get the background done. Take a picture, and because then you can document your progress and see how your painting changes throughout. So red, yellow, and blue, even though those are the primaries, they're not all made equally. And that's not necessarily a brand thing, that's just a pigment thing, right? So you can have, there are several different shades of red, and each, or since we're working with blue and yellow, there's several different blues. So if you use a phthalo blue, that's going to be a more turquoisey color than if you use like a cerulean blue, which is going to be more greeny. So yeah, there's lots of different variations in your colors, but that's part of the fun. Everybody, so even using the same paint, we're still getting different colors and different shades, right? So yeah. Alrighty, so we're gonna get our red. Scoop a little bit of that out. And I think I need a teeny bit more yellow. So to make the brown, we're gonna use red, yellow, blue, and white. So you don't need much, but make sure you still have a little bit of each color. And then we'll scoop a little bit of black for the very last details. So like just a teeny bit of black there. There we go. And then we don't actually need this round brush for this painting. The rest of it's going to be done with this little detail guy. Okay, so I'm going to bring this back down. Okay. So we're going to take, I'm going to use this little tiny scoop of yellow I put here, and I'm going to add about the same amount of red and about the same amount of blue, maybe a little bit less blue, and I'm going to mix that together first. So this is our brown for the dandelion seed. And I'm actually pretty happy with that. So we're going to take this little brush with a bit of our brown. And so we want like that top tuft kind of just above the center, okay? So from that point where you want that, I make a long kind of S shape, very subtle S, but a long kind of curvy shape. And I'm just thickening it up a little bit because it's a bigger canvas than I originally painted this painting on. So I want to make sure that it's proportioned to the size of the painting. And there's that little seed on the bottom. So we make like a little upside down U. And it curves in like that. Outside curves around and it's a little pointed on the bottom. And then you can color that in. I'm just going to leave it open for a minute. And if you find your paint is a little hard to spread across the canvas, add a little bit of water. So just dip your brush in the water and then mix it in your paint. And it'll be a little smoother, a little thinner, and a little easier to spread. Color that in, and then we're going to put some little highlights on the seed. And so we're going to kind of go across the top here. And just on kind of like in the middle down to the point, which is like the edge of it. Just kind of give it a three-dimensional shape. And a little tiny bit on the inside, but not quite as bright of a white. And then down the stem. Brush got away from me, so I made a bit of a big mark there. And then after that, that's when I wash my brush. I'm going to see if I can fix up my little goof here, but I don't know if it'll stand out too much. There we go. So once you've got the seed part there, we're going to wash off your brush, dry it off on the paper towel, and then go into the straight red. We're going to make the ladybug. So the ladybug, you want it to be about the same size as your seed. So it's actually going to be quite big in this canvas. And we start with just a little semicircle. And then kind of bump out the back of that semicircle. It's a little more rounded at the back. And then take a little bit of the red, teeny little bit of blue, and make a really dark purple. I'm going to use this to shadow on ladybug shell while it's still wet so it blends in. So there's kind of like this line along the bottom and up a little bit towards the front. And I need a little bit darker purple. There we go. Right, you can see that. And then a little bit at the back as well, because this is kind of underneath the ladybug from where the light is. And I'm going to mix in some more red. So I have like kind of this middle color each. So this part's very subtle, but I'm coming up the back here. And then I'm going to wash my brush. I need a bit more yellow. Once you have that shadowy part of the ladybug shell in, we're going to mix some yellow with some red. And you want a little bit, so you just want kind of like this deep orange. That's not quite what I wanted, so I'm going to add a little more red. And so this will kind of be our highlight, because if we add white to the red, we're going to get pink. And that's not going to give like the sunny parts of the shell quite the same, because it'll be a little pastel-y. So we want to use this orangey color. Stick it on the front here. And then along the top edge. Okay, so then we're going to go into the black. And again, you want to thin it a little bit with water. So just dip your brush in the water so there's a little drip on it. And then put that beside your black. And then put a little bit of the black paint into the water. That'll make it easier to spread with a thinner line. So we're going to go, and first we're going to put like the body underneath the shell. And then we've got one little leg, and the legs are kind of angular. So it comes back, and then it goes that way. It's like a little V. And then there's a little leg in the front. And we can see the other side. So that one goes like that. I watered my black down a little too much, so it's a little more see-through, so I'm just going over it. Some straight paint. Probably let it dry and then do one more coat. And then we have the body part. So ladybugs have like basically like another little semicircle, but it attaches to the shell. Whoops, and that needs to be much bigger. So it comes about halfway up the side. There we go. And then there's a little leg that comes off of this part as well. There we go. And then the spots. And then I added a bit of water to the white. I'm going to put some very subtle shiny highlights on the ladybug. And then ladybugs also on their bodies have like these white spots. And I'm going to go back to the black after the white because I forgot his tiny little antenna. There. And then I'm adding more water to the white. So with the white watered down, you're going to start at the top. You want to be very light with the brush, with the stroke, and kind of flick it and lift as you're flicking towards the edge. Okay, so for those of you who have been in the Paint Your Pet classes, it's like when you're doing the whiskers. Okay, so you water it down and then you start in the middle and you go out a little bit and flick at the end. So you get that nice little thin point at the end. And they don't have to be straight or perfectly curved. They can be kind of wonky. Go in all directions. Oops, and that one got a little thick on me. So I'm just gonna go with it and make it a little longer so it's thin on the end. And then if you're feeling like it, I like to put a little guy on the edge as well. So there's just another little seed, but all you can see is the tuft. It's like floating on the edge here. You can do as many of those as you want. I'm going to put a couple in here, I think. And then just wash your brush off and get it wet. And we're going to make a circle just in water around the outside of our, actually that's going to be really hard to see. So get a little bit of the white, and you want it super watered down. So after you put a little bit of water on there, get the white. But I don't like it that strong of a white. I like to just kind of be like a, you know, when you take a picture and there's like that little halo. I like this part to look. It's just this little circular halo. My circle's not super circular, but that's okay. If you want to skip this part, that is totally okay too. Yeah, my circle's very not circly. Almost like a bubble too. I might actually, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to take the round brush, the big round one, and wet it and just go over this again and see if I can't make this a little rounder, be a little thicker of a line, a little more watered down. There. That makes me happier. And the very last step, water down. I'm going to water down the red, but you can use whichever color you like. And you're going to sign your name. You want to water it down similar to those wisps to make it easy to glide across your canvas. And I usually put the year on my paintings as well, just to keep track. There we go. The most important part is that you're having fun. Everyone did such a great job. Thank you for having fun and for joining me. And paintings are meant to be looked at from 10 feet away. So even at arm's reach, it's still not far enough, right? You're looking at this super close. You've been working hard at it for an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So you're going to see every little mark. But once you hold it away, that part that's bugging you might not bug you so much. So that's something I like to do in my in-person classes is I'll come and take your painting. Yeah, I'm grateful for everybody who contributed to all the little goodies, and I hope you enjoy all the little goodies. Thank you. Enjoy, and any questions, anytime, send me a message. You got my contact, okay?